Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tuesday Live. I'm here with Lily Maw. Lily Maw, would you like to say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody. I think it's a good afternoon in Ireland, right? Good afternoon.
That's right. In Ireland, it's good afternoon, but in many places around the world, of course, it's still morning.
Yes.
And it's 10 a.m. in Canada, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it's 10 a.m.
So today we're going to be speaking about different books that have impacted our lives for the better. And of course, the very first book we're probably going to speak about is Your One Word, which we know that for Lily, this book has been extraordinary. So after that, of course, as well, there's many other books that we have enjoyed. And I'd love to ask you, Lily, can you tell us a few of your books that you love?
Yeah, so Your One Word is one of them. And of course, we could talk a little bit more about it. Also, two books. Gifts of Imperfection is a book that I read a couple of years ago, and it really, really changed the way I saw myself, and I changed the way I saw things in general. So Gifts of Imperfection is written by Brené Brown. And if you guys don't know who Brené Brown is, you have to YouTube her and watch her talk on power of vulnerability. It is an amazing, powerful talk about how we're always trying to cover up and we're trying to armor ourselves, and because we're afraid that people are going to judge us or we're afraid of hurt. But what we're doing is we're robbing ourselves away from like the true joy in life and the true happiness in life. So check her out. So her book actually made a huge impact in my life because it was around a time that I was struggling with perfectionism. And I won't say that I have completely gotten over it. I still have hints of it. It's not like I was cured, but I'm definitely a lot better now with perfectionism. I would constantly worry about how I came across. And I think maybe, Melissa, you can relate a little bit too. I think, especially with women, we like to take a lot on. We're mother. You're a mother. I'm not a mother. I'm a wife. I have my own business. I have different things going on. And at the same time, we have all this stuff going on, but we want to make it seem like we have everything under control and everything is just perfect. Meanwhile, we're falling apart and we need help, but we cannot reach out. So I was going through a lot of those problems, and that book really helped me. And what she does is it's a practical guidepost. Have you read this book before? Have you heard of it?
No, Lily, I've never read it, but it's definitely one I'm going to have on my list. Definitely, for sure. It sounds amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's a very thin book too. It's not a huge book. And she walks through different guideposts and how to live a happier life by setting the right boundaries, the way you see yourself. And a lot of it has to do with parenting too, how you parent and understanding that, we're not perfect and that's okay, and really leaning into that. That was an amazing book for me.
Oh, wow. That sounds very powerful. I think that's a book that we could all, get more into, because I think as parents or as yourself as just working, as a coach, we're constantly trying to do everything and have a good balance, and sometimes we have to just accept we can only do so much in a day,
Yeah.
And even for myself, when I create videos, I try and always schedule it at a time that I have peace and quiet, but at the same time, I have to be aware that I have children and they can step into the room any moment, so that's just life, and it's about embracing and accepting, I suppose, what your life is, and, just accepting, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. And she goes through different guideposts. So it's almost a practical guide towards accepting our imperfections.
That's amazing. I would love to read that. That'll definitely be going on my book list. I absolutely love books.
Nice. So speaking of which, what's your favorite book?
I've got many, I think for me, I fell into, we'll say, personal development and mindfulness through books, really, because I was always a very keen reader. Since I was a child, I loved reading and I loved books. But then as my life got busier, I couldn't read as much, so I kind of turned to audiobooks. So I used to cycle to work before I had the toddlers. And I used to actually have audiobooks on while I'd be cycling to work and on my breaks and coming home. So I found You Can Heal Your Life actually through YouTube. I'd heard somebody speak about it on a different channel. by Louise Hay. And
When is it? Say that again. Which book?
You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
And it's all about different areas of your life. We'll say your health, your work. You can go into your love life, and it's kind of a self-therapy book, you know, to learn to accept where you are right now. And she always says that the point of power is in the present moment, and that for me was very powerful. So that was like a gateway for me into mindfulness also, because, and that's why I share that book every week on my channel. I go through chapter each week, whereas this book isn't very large either. You could easily read it, I'd say, in 2 days, you know. But I share a chapter a week because I really want to give people a feel of, you know, the different ideas that she's sharing and the different techniques. And for me, I just found it was amazing, you know, to be able to read all the different tools that she was offering about how we can change our thoughts and how much our thoughts affect our bodies and our minds, you know. And this was a whole new concept to me, and I just thought it was very powerful. So yeah, that book has had an amazing impact on my life. Also, of course, Your One Word by Evan Carmichael, and many other books, you know, that lots of books by Dr. Wayne Dyer. You know, I enjoy a lot of his work. His first book actually would be my favorite, Your Erroneous Zones. Have you ever heard of that book, Lily?
No, but I'm a big fan of Wayne Dyer.
Yeah, and I love him as a public speaker also. You know, I like the way he is very natural, and he comes across as just, you know, just like a friend, you know, or just like a regular person. You know, he's really authentic, the way he speaks about different topics, and he used to share his own life as well. You know, he was very easy to connect to, I thought, personally. So I would have read a lot of books belonging to Dr. Wayne Dyer as well, and he would be my favorite author. So yeah.
Oh, really? He's your favorite author?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So why is he your favorite author? Because you read a lot. You're really well read. Out of everybody.
He just came across so easygoing, you know, and it's, you know, it's the way he explains things. And I think as well the fact that, you know, he's wrote so many books, you know, and another one of my favorite of his books is I Can See Clearly Now. And in that book, he really goes back to the start of his life from when he was a small child in an orphanage. And he explains that he always had the gift, you know, of making people feel comfortable around him. So it was a very natural thing for him. And he always spoke about that he always kind of knew that his thoughts were very important, you know. So, and then he goes through all his life, the different, you know, problems that he had in his life. He was very real and very honest about the different experiences and the challenges that he faced, you know. In his family life, you know, and in his work life. And for me, that was just amazing. I love to read books that the person is very authentic and sharing their story. And he's an amazing storyteller as well. So I think that's so important, you know, when you read a book, you know, even if somebody's speaking about themselves, it's an amazing story. And I think, you know, like to be a coach or to be a person or a public speaker or to be an author, it's amazing to be able to share your own journey and to be able to connect with other people. And that was one of the reasons as well I connected to you, Lily, because you were so vulnerable, you know, open, and you shared all your journey on Evan's channel, you know, and even still right now, you're, you know, you're very open to sharing ideas and helping to improve people's lives, you know.
Yeah, because you know what? In the end, what matters, right? What matters is for me. I was just talking to my husband about it the other day, and there's this quote that I love, and I live by it actually. And I haven't shared it with you. I shared it with someone else before. Is happiness is only real when shared, and it's from a movie called Into the Wild. And if you guys want to check it out, it's actually an amazing movie. It's based on a true story. I think I could achieve all sorts of success. I could be the most talented, the most intelligent, and the most successful. I could have billions of dollars. But if I had no one to share that with, I would give it all up. If I didn't have my husband to share my life with, none of this would matter. If I gained all of this knowledge and I had no one to share with, if I didn't have you, Melissa, to share with, your viewers to share with, there's no point of me doing any of this. Extraordinary is what I stand for. That is true. That is the most important thing that I stand for. But the second thing that I stand for is contribution. Like, life wouldn't matter to me at all if I couldn't contribute. So I think that's the reason why I share so much, even though it makes me uncomfortable at times. I still can't watch the intro video for my Unlocking Lily series. I just can't. I can't for several reasons. I can't because it's no longer who I am today. It's someone I was back in those days, and it was a moment in time. However, it was very real for that time. And also, to see that much pain in anybody, including myself, is hard for me to watch. I could transport that onto someone else, and it's still hard for me to watch. So that's what pushes me to share my story with the world.
Yeah, but I think it's so powerful, because so many people, they learn from other people's struggles and, stepping out of your comfort zone, which you've done as well, So, I mean, I think that's the main reason people watch, your videos, and even my own videos that I share, the different topics that I share, the books. It's all about giving back as well, because I gained so much from the things that I share. And I'm still trying to find a balance on how to give more, But right now, I accept that I'm giving as much as I can. But I know in the future, I'll probably give more. I'll probably upload more videos, But I think that is so important, that point you made. It's all about giving back. I think if you learn something that has worked for you, or you've an experience in life and you've overcame it, with say a challenge or something like that, it's so important to share it. That's for sure, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which brings me to the next point. You've been sharing your Louise Hay's affirmation and her book. So I wanna talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, originally I was sharing the book, but I decided to, at the time, I did a 30-day affirmations, we'll say. I did 30 days straight on YouTube, because I wanted to challenge myself to upload every day. And I also felt it would be beneficial for the viewers as well. And, for everybody to come back and to practice a new affirmation. And it was great for me too, because when you read an affirmation and then when you speak it, it becomes more real and it's much more powerful, So I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to, I already did one of my own affirmations. What I wanted to do was actually create my own affirmations and share them, and then ask the viewers to share whatever affirmations they love by an author or online, or something that maybe they created themselves. So I do that on a Sunday, and I give the person a shout out also if they have a channel. So it's a lovely way of being able to exchange quotes and affirmations, because I really think they're very powerful, and you'd be amazed, just like you, Lily, you have that one quote that really means a lot to you, and there's many people out there that have a saying or a quote or an affirmation that really works for them. So I'm always interested to know what people, what quotes they love and what affirmations they use, and why as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yes, for that quote, and it's controversial, that quote, because I have had people say, well, that's not true. How could you not be happy within yourself? And you should be happy by yourself. Why is it only real when shared? And I said, hey, it's fine. Different people have different opinions on it. But for me, that's the most important thing in the world. I believe that we are primates. Like, we're not meant to be alone. We're meant to share our experiences with people. We're meant to rely on each other. We're meant to build this entire society together and move our human race forward. That's what I believe in. And then the story behind that quote is on this movie called Into the Wild. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a small movie. It's based on a true story, and my favorite movie is Forrest Gump, but this is my second favorite movie. It's about this young guy who's extremely intelligent, and he started questioning society and how society's greedy, and they're all about money and they're all about status, which is, you know, that's why I connected with the movie in the first place, because I used to be like that. I was like, why? These things shouldn't matter. So he ended up burning this check that he had. He had a scholarship, bright guy. He ended up burning his check, and he went into the wild to live. He's like, I'm going to shun out society. I'm not going to live in the society. So he went in there with just a book, like a little handbook on how to survive in the wilderness.
Wow.
And in the end, what came out of it was that he realized that he cannot function without society, and he missed his family. He missed his sister, and he missed his friends and his girlfriend, all of that. So he wanted to come back, but things don't end well for him. So,
oh, right.
yeah, things don't. And it's a true story. It's based on his journals that he wrote when he was in the wild, and someone found it.
Wow,
So,
I definitely must check that out. It sounds so interesting.
Yeah. I get goosebumps talking about it, because it's not a fairy tale ending. That's
exactly. It's more real, like when you know it's a true story, isn't it? My goodness. Yeah, but it's so important, connection, you know. I think connecting with people and sharing ideas, like what you said, you know, it's such an important part of our human society. You know, we need to speak with people. We need to share ideas, you know, and I think we become more empowered ourselves as well when we connect, you know, with like-minded people, or we learn from people that we admire, you know, and different mentors, or maybe a different author, you like their work, and it's something with personal development. You know, it's so important to always have an open mind, you know, and to just be open to learning something new, you know. And that's what was the main thing for me when I discovered personal development and practicing mindfulness, was to learn to be more flexible and just to have a more open mind, you know, to try new things and to step out of my comfort zone, you know. Even when I opened this channel originally, and that for me was really stepping out of my comfort zone. But the need to share was so much stronger. So I just overcame it in the end. And it was the same last week when we did our live, and I did the meditation, you know. And it was really like stepping out again of my comfort zone. But I find the more I do it, you know, the more I realize that, you know, it's so important, you know. And I think the fact that I am at home with children, with my kids, I'm in a real comfort zone, you know. I'm in my home. I wouldn't see many people all the time, you know. So going live then and doing that live meditation, it was like, oh my goodness, what would people think? You know, it was all these criticisms and judgments. And as well, you know, in the Louise Hay book, you know, she goes through all these different stages. So that's where I'm going with this. I'm trying to connect to the book.
Can we talk about that a little bit more? About because I love Louise Hay's, and I have watched a lot of her videos, but I haven't really read any of her books or anything like that. So I wanted to know more about her from you.
Well, basically, you know, she goes through different ideas, you know, and obviously tools that you can use, and affirmations, more importantly. The book is based around how you think.
Okay.
So, you know, and it's trying to get you into a mindset that your thoughts create your reality, which is true. You know what I mean? Everything we think, and then we take an action, you know, and then obviously we have something from that. So the whole book is about, as well, as self-therapy. So for people that would have had a challenge in their lives, you know, maybe through back into childhood, or maybe later in life, something that they're finding hard to move on from. She goes through all things like that as well. She brings you into your childhood. She gets you to kind of to answer different questions, you know, and to do different tools to help you to unblock, you know, whatever it is that is stopping you from doing things that you should be doing, and why, more importantly, you're thinking limited beliefs, you know, is the way I would put it. We'll say, like, You know, for instance, somebody could be a yes person all the time, you know. Like I kind of struggled with that a lot earlier in life. And for me, when I kind of went back and realized why I was doing that, you know, it was because I also had a mother that was very obliging, you know, and always put herself last, you know. And as a mother, this is something that we all do, you know, as mothers. But at the end of the day as well, if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of the people around us, you know, and we're setting an example, you know, as well. So that was like one thing that I learned about myself. And then other things as well, like stepping out of my comfort zone as well. I find that I always have issues with that, you know. But I think most people do, let's be fair, you know. But this was another thing I fell upon in the book, you know. But in general, if there's anything in your life that you're struggling with, maybe it's confidence, maybe it's diet, or maybe it's relationships, you know, it all starts with you, you know, is where she goes in the book. So all the work you're doing for yourself.
Yes.
And then when you do the work for yourself, then you can share it.
Yes.
And the people around you start to notice, you know, that you're changing, and people treat you differently then as well, you know.
Yeah.
When you're sure of who you are and you're confident in yourself, you know, then other people treat you differently. So it is all about your mindset. You know, again, it goes back to mindset and becoming aware of what you're feeling. And again, for me, it speaks of mindfulness again, you know. And I think it was very important, what I'm going to bring you back to again, what I said earlier, the point of power is always in the present moment. So what she speaks about a lot in the book is that, you know, just because we'll say yesterday or last year you were different, doesn't mean that today you have to be the same. You know, you can always change. There's always time to grow. You can always learn something new, you know. And I've met many people, you know, friends throughout my life, you know, that they had lots of limiting beliefs, you know. And actually, I think this was the third copy I bought of this book, because the other books that I bought, I actually gave them away to different people just from talking to them.
Yeah.
And I just thought it would be so helpful for people, because there's so many limiting beliefs. And I do believe that every single person has some form of a limiting belief, one way or another, you know. And it's just about if you've got the courage to figure out where it came from, you know. So sometimes it could be for a message you heard in childhood from a friend, or it could be a family member, it could be in school, you know. But the thing is, it doesn't matter where you got the limiting belief, but the most important thing is that you recognize that it's not really yours.
Yes.
You know?
I agree with that so much.
Yeah, that you can change it, and you have the power, you know, to do the things that you want to do and become the person that you are, you know, really.
Yeah.
So
I really want to talk about that. I just got off another interview that we spoke about inner voice versus the negative self-talk. So the question came up was, how can you differentiate between your inner voice, you know, the voice that you should listen to, your intuition, your gut, the guide that takes you the right way, whether, you know, people think, you know, people might think it's God, or some people might think it's some kind of energy, some people call it their own inner nature calling, versus negative self-talk. How do you differentiate between the two? So I'm curious to find out like what you think, and then I'll weigh in on it too.
Well, personally, I think that, you know, your own inner being, it's not going to be something negative, you know, because I will say, for me, that would be your presence, you know, or the presence I see in you when you're when anybody's at their best, you know, that's their inner voice speaking, in motion, we'll say,
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, when we have to make a big decision, we'll say, we know what we have to do, you know, our inner voice, and we feel it. You know, some people feel it in the tummy area, you know, some people feel it in the heart as well. You know, it's amazing if you talk from from one person to the other, and you ask them where do they feel their inner voice comes from. It's amazing how they'll point to the body also. So that's something to think about too.
Mm.
But for me personally, it's always the voice that's pushing you to be better, you know. And I believe that there's a big difference between the negative chatter,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the inner voice. The inner voice is something that is wants good for you. Basically, it's your higher self, as many people would say, you know, or it's your God self, like what you were saying earlier. So I don't feel there's anything negative about that. So there's a big difference, I think, you know. But the problem is we're not in touch with it, you know, and this is where mindfulness comes in, you know, and listening, you know, how you're feeling, you know, because sometimes even if you're, I will say, like, even if you are feeling, we'll say sad or whatever emotion, you know, you could be feeling happy, you still have that inner voice, you know. And sometimes because we're not feeling our best right now, we block out the inner voice.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to realize that just because you're not feeling at your best at this present moment, don't make decisions on that, you know. Like, this is where I would think negative chatter could come in as well. If you're not feeling well, you know, if you're not feeling good. So the best way really is to just relax yourself, you know, and acknowledge.
Yeah.
If you feel like there's negativity coming up, chatter or whatever, that that you need to relax yourself and just become aware and accept. And then the inner voice, I think, becomes more strong, you know.
This is so good, Melissa. This actually, I was thinking about this as well. You said sometimes when you're not feeling good, maybe you should hold off on certain decisions. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, and that, but at the same time, realize that, you know, don't, like, I would say hold off completely. Maybe acknowledge what you're feeling. So it can pass, you know.
I'm getting so excited about this because
and then, you know, the inner voice starts to come up more. It becomes stronger. I think what traps a lot of people is trapped emotions, you know. And sometimes they can't hear their inner voice because they can't control the emotion, you know. And it's happened to all of us, you know, at some stage. And like what you said before, anxiety or excitement, there's a very fine line, you know. So I think it's very important. Yes, of course, if it's a big, huge decision, you know, and it's going to have an impact, of course, you know, take your time making that decision and sit still with yourself. And especially if there's something going on for you. But definitely acknowledge what's going on for you, but know that your emotion should never get in the way of doing something that you want to do. And I think that's the biggest problem for inner voice, when the emotion takes over and the negative chatter, you know, it stops the inner voice. You know what I mean? Because we get caught up in the busy thoughts and the emotion.
That's really good. And when I was having, I believe exactly, like, I agree with you 100%. Like, to me is whether if it's gonna, it's that voice is helping me expand or contract.
Exactly.
If it's helping me expand, which is what you're saying, it's going to help you grow. It's going to push you forward versus pushing you down. So understanding the difference between the two, and then going back to what you were saying is that the negative self-talk is negative. The inner voice, the guide for you is never negative. So understanding the difference between the two and knowing that the negative self-talk does not belong to you. And I think that's a really important point, because people are like, no, it's my voice. Yes, it's your voice because you've trained it over time, but it belonged to someone else at some point. I don't think a little baby, you have kids, you have babies. And when they're little babies, they don't look in the mirror all like, look at how fat my legs are. They probably love themselves. They blow kisses at themselves. Like, that baby was not like that at that age. What happened to them later on? So that voice, that negative self-talk, does not belong to us inherently. I think it came from somewhere. So acknowledging where it came from is important too. And then just letting it go.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And that's so true about small kids, you know. they, they express themselves 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether they're feeling happy, sad, excited, it's all 100%. They're always in the present moment, and it's all this learned patterns and different beliefs, and that's why we have to be very mindful around children. I believe that, and be very careful the way we speak around children, because they're like sponges, they pick up everything. Like my children, I have three. I have a 15-year-old and I have two toddlers under 3. And Rose, the middle child, she's 2.5. She'll be 3 actually in December. But she's a sponge. Like my husband, he's Russian. And so she speaks 2 languages. She speaks Russian to him and she speaks English to me, And sometimes she speaks Russian to me as well, and I'm like, I understand sometimes, but other times I don't. But what I notice is that, any word you speak, she repeats it. So it's very important to be mindful, again, going back to Louise Hay book and what we're just speaking about, that we have to be more mindful the way we speak in front of our children. But not only that, we should be more mindful how we speak to human beings in general, because every person is human.
Yeah.
And if we start it at a young age, and I truly believe as well that in schools, personal development should be a class, I think, mindset, managing your emotions, using mindfulness. I think it's something I don't understand why it's not there, because it's so important, And I'm so happy that, here on YouTube, that we have this platform that we can just speak about all of these things and help all the viewers that are watching now and who may watch in the future, because, YouTube is an amazing place where you can literally search anything and learn anything. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And then with the educational system, I think there is a bit of a change, but it's still slow moving. I think our education is still like based on things that happened over 100 years ago. It's no longer relevant. But that's a discussion for another time altogether about, how we can make the school system better. So Melissa, it's amazing. Half an hour has passed by.
Okay, we better go to our chat, Lily, and see.
Are we doing a meditation though? Are we doing a meditation?
No, we won't be doing a meditation today, because I'll tell you why. I've been practicing recording meditations.
Okay,
so I'm
all right.
hoping
Maybe
to
next
put
time.
one out this week. So I want to put it up on my YouTube channel, and so I want people to look forward to that. I just want to check the chats here, Lily, just to see.
Yes, please.
Hello, Alexandra. Hello, everybody. She says, making the lunch and enjoying this beautiful conversation. Thank you, my ladies. Hello, Positive Vibes. Taking the back seat of your life is a good analogy for this awareness. And Cindy, 4C TV. Hi, dear. Hello, Cindy. And Creative Queen. Hey, Positive Vibes. They're brilliant, aren't they? There's so many of you here. And Metaphysical Mike. How are you, Mike? And Clifford is after boarding a flight.
I know, but he sent his...
Best of luck. Best of luck, Clifford. Yeah, so it's brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. You're great support. So, Lily,
yes,
thank you so much again today for joining me.
You're welcome. This was an amazing discussion. I almost feel like this discussion can be broken out to different live events, because there's so many things we talked about. We talked about affirmation, mindfulness, inner voice, all of that. That could all be different sections on its own.
Definitely. So if anybody wants to hear more about anything, any of the subjects or topics we spoke about, definitely comment below and let us know, and we'd be delighted to talk more about it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you, Lily. Give everybody a big kiss. Bye, guys. See you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.